Hey everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Uru Complete Chronicles. So you're probably wondering what's been going on with this Let's Play, because I uploaded a video the other day and it didn't have any sound, and I quickly took it off after I discovered my mistake. And the problem was that I accidentally turned off the microphone for my recording software beforehand and forgot to set it back. And so I'm having to re-record the game, not just because I have a new computer, but also a second time because I had to redo the game after I had made the progress in that failed video. So, sorry, redo the video, not re-record the Let's Play. So, this is my third run-through of the game now. I guess my second run-through through this particular section. But we're back to where we were at the end of the last video. This is officially going to be the first video on the new computer. And for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much where we left off, other than the fact that it's now nighttime in Gira. It was daytime, I think, when we were last here, but it's okay. So we were on our way to the fourth and final journey door. So let's go ahead and go to Chemo and take care of that. One thing I will say about replaying the game is that I felt like I was able to get through it a lot more quickly because I didn't read any of the materials along the way, and I barely stopped for anything. In fact, the second time around rerunning through everything, I actually was able to complete the 4 ages up to this point in about an hour and a half, I think. It kind of makes me want to speedrun the game, honestly. Anyway, I think the way Chemo works, based on my run-throughs through them again, is that it actually starts with the cloudy, non-rainy Chemo, and then after a while it goes to the rainy version at the same amount of time. So anyway, let's go ahead and listen to Yeesha's final message.
Many stories were there for the Dini to learn from, but they didn't hear them. The ancient tales of Tuat's Ocean, or of course the story of King Shomat and his brothers, which even speaks of gardens and death. But no one truly listened. The garden ages of the proud are beautiful, but they are built on the backs of the least. The ages like Chemo and Gira are a sampling of the playthings of Dini. With disregard, the least were stripped from their homes. The lives in those ages were consumed, and the Dini gave nothing back. And whatever is not given back will be taken. The journeys are complete. Now take the final pillar. Take it, but hear all I've said. It's the whispers and murmurs that reveal the simple truths. You hold the precious soul of a Bahro in your age, in your hand. Such things are not meant to be held. Do what I do. I have learned things, seen things, written things they never thought possible. I have seen the real treasures that are protected by the petty fences of their rules. I have found the precious gold buried deep beneath the weighty mountains of their laws. This is my journey too. I am returning what has been given. These years I've spent, this path I've traveled, this gift I've been given, this purpose weighs on me, my burden, the legacy of my father Atris. For we are shaping Dini. We will mold what comes after. We cannot keep the power and the pride from ruining this new Dini, but we can prepare those who will read between the lines. The least are returning. The stream in the cleft is returning. Life is returning. The fisher is returning. The circle will be completed when you give back what you have taken. You must return.
Okay, so that is the final speech. There wasn't really a prologue to that speech. It's just we just jumped right into the age-specific content, and then we had the sequential part at the very end, not at the beginning. So let's go ahead and take the final pillar. One thing I haven't shown, I don't think I've shown any of this in the times we've gone into the Barrow cave here. Oh, I'll explain what this is here in a sec. Is if you try using the Relto book, you cannot it's going to be all black and swirly, so you can't actually do anything. In fact, I don't know if you can even edit the Relto pages while you're in here. Oh, I guess you can. Alright, so let's jump into the fissure. And we will get the final pillar into Relto. Well, that's certainly ominous. So all the pillars raised up. Can we touch these? Nothing happens. But we can take a look at all these little drawings on them. They pretty much resemble what we saw in the Proverb books, or the Proverbs book. This one's the one for the Garden Ages, and it looks like these are actually fish. I still don't know what this is. Maybe this is supposed to be one of those weird-shaped plants or trees in Chemo. I think it's supposed to be a tree. The one over here for Garrison shows the structure shape with all the triangular components and whatnot. And this one over here for Kadish Talisa shows the tree shape. And it looks like my phone sound got turned on there. Let me turn that off. So that's the tree shape that we saw quite a bit in Kadish. And then finally, Teledon has mushrooms, which is appropriate. Alright, so one thing I forgot to do in my original playthrough of the game was pick up this book here on the bottom shelf. And it goes here into your inventory area, and it effectively functions as a journal. You get your player name and then journal, and you can edit this however you'd like. So you can't hold down backspace for some reason. Well, let's say this is a journal entry. Journal entry. Man, I have been indoctrinated by Yeesha. What can I say? Alright, so we're not... Sorry about that, everybody. I accidentally exited the game. So yeah, we're probably not going to be using the journal very much, but at least we've got it in our possession just in case we need it. So, I'm going to actually change clothes. I'm going to get rid of this hat, the pith hat, and we will go and get the helmet, I should say. And I'll get my straw hat back real quick. Let's see here. Oh, one thing that I changed in between playthroughs was I got more of a circle beard now. And the reason for that is in between recordings, when I got my new computer and all that, I actually started growing some facial hair like that in real life. So I'm pretty excited about that. Wait, that wasn't what I meant to do. I meant to get the hat. Hair. That's where you do this. It was over here. It's just over that way. There we go. A little too yellow. Let's lighten that up a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now we've got a question to answer, which is what we need to do now that we've got all the pillars, because obviously trying to mess around over here isn't really doing a whole lot. So what do we do exactly? Well, Yeesha mentioned something about returning what we have taken. And really the only way we can do that is by going back to the Barrow Caves, I guess. So let's start with Teledon, and we'll work our way through each of the ages. I actually made sure that the last journey cloth I touched here was the one that was closest to the door, so that I'd be fully ready for this one. So let's enter the journey door and see what happens. And you know what? Just for fun, I think we're going to walk backwards into the caves this time. Get to see the linking happen a little bit more easily. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Oh. Well, that's certainly different. The cave is no longer blue tinted, it's now red or orange. We could still listen to the Yeesha message if we wanted to, but let's just press the hand and see what happens. It came back. Well, that's good to know. Can we still use the Relto book? No. Okay, I guess we'll have to jump in. Wait a minute, that's not the Starfisher. That looks like the Dunny Cavern, actually. Well, that's certainly curious. We gave the pillar back, and now this set of cracks has appeared in the ground. Intriguing. Wait a second. This actually lines up with that mural drawing that we saw earlier in the balcony atop that neighborhood in Dunny. The very first Barrow stone that we found, and it was actually here in Garrison, I believe. Because in that drawing we saw a set of 4 pillars that were in a cave. And there were lines that... No! I did not mean to do that. There were lines above the pillars that connected them to an island in the sky, which has to resemble Relto. And then after that there were a downward sloping set of lines that led them to another cave. But instead of dots that would presumably resemble stars below it, the cave had another enclosure below it, and not an endless sea of stars. So it seems like that mural is depicting what we're doing right now, that we're returning the pillars to that cave, but now the cave is in Dunny. And if you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense based on what we've heard from Yeesha, because we're effectively returning the Barrow to Dunny. And that is kind of what we've been doing the whole time, or at least what this whole thing's been about. So it makes a lot of sense. I think this one will... Let's see if we have a more picturesque view this time. Sorta. Not exactly, especially when we get inside. You can really hear the Barrow getting all excited here. That's a good thing, though. Alright, so we are now in the second wedge here. One thing that you can notice is that the first wedge that we went on over there is actually still extended, which was not the case when these were blue caves. Can we switch back to first-person view? The other thing here is you can see a little bit more clearly. This was in the blue tinted caves, but you can see it a lot better here. Is that there are symbols on the ground, and the symbols seem to match the ones in the cleft imager back in the desert. So we'll have to look at that more closely when we get the other two. Okay, the cracks have intensified even more. Don't know where this is all heading, but we'll find out. Okay, now for Kadish Tweets. I made sure that the final cloth was the one inside the vault for this one. That way we don't have to do a lot of backtracking here. So I guess that's one blessing in disguise of having to re-record the whole thing, right? Okay, I will say that on my second rerun through of this, getting up to that journey cloth was still just as annoying as it was the first time around. Alright, so I'm actually going to take the alternate route to the journey door. The one that involves walking down here. And you'll notice that the camera pans down once I get to this point. And I believe that this is intentional, walking down here just because of the camera doing that. It's like they're actually trying to get you to do this. Whereas the other one, I don't think the camera did that. So I think the other way is meant to be kind of a bonus, or maybe it's unintentional, I'm not sure. Alright, walk backwards. You can see some purple. It's kind of cool. I can't make that kind of growly noise. You know how you put your your tongue on the roof of your mouth and it sounds like a tiger or something. Like, I can never do that. I can never make those rolling R's and, you know, sounds like that. Alright, and now we can actually see that these 3 wedges are connected, which is pretty cool. Even more crackage going on here. Alright, and Eater Chemo, thankfully, is really simple. I actually made sure that the last journey cloth I touched there was the one closest to the journey door, so... Actually, I'm not sure this is the closest one to the journey door. It's the closest one to the fireflies. I think the one that would be closest to the journey door is actually the one, that's over by that big column over there. Yeah, one thing that was really funny happened on my Teledon rerun through the first time around, the one that didn't quite make it because of the sound issue. So, you know the jail puzzle where you have to put all the stuff in the, you know, the little objects into the plates and all that, and then you have to unsolve the puzzle once you get past the door. And then after that, you get to this bridge you have to slam into, and then you use the lever to lower it down. Well, I totally forgot to use that lever. And so I accidentally jumped over the bridge, which means that if I was to connect the whole thing, I would have to go back into the jail again. Yeah, that was not a good idea. So I actually had to redo the age up until that point, and, well, actually, it wasn't, no, it wasn't. It was the, what you call it, the journey cloth was still touched. I was able to do that, but I had to resolve the puzzle and then unsolve it yet again, so it was a mess. But thankfully I avoided that this time around. So this opened up, and it looks like we have the star fissure in here. And for all of you Myst aficionados in here, this is actually the shape of the fissure from the original Myst, and it actually matches the shape of the cleft in the desert. I'm going to see if we can jump over it. I'm curious. We can. That's cool. I never tried that before. Well, Yeesha said the fissure is returning, so let's jump in. We're pretty much done here for now, so let's just see where this takes us. It should, if the Riven remnants are any indication, lead back to the desert, so that's good news. Except, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to take note of all the symbols. Oh boy. Okay, we got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. I was busy talking about Teledon. Let's go back. We're going to have to re-jump into the fissure, but hey, it's always fun, right? So let's check out Teledon, because that one's the closest. Okay, and we'll go jump into the door again. Or walk into the door, I guess. We'll just run into it. Make it go a little faster. Alright, so I think this is randomly generated each time you play the game. So we got a square here. An eye shape. It's different from the eye shape from earlier. That's more like a shell. Oh, and then a shell. There you go. And then the thingy. So the square... Well, I guess this is more of a square. The square with legs, I should say. With the Z or S in it. Then the eye, the shell, and then the thingy. Okay, gotcha. Alright, time to go back to the fissure and get to the desert. Sorry about that little detour there. Alright, let's jump right in. And you can start with any of this. I think you can start with any of the symbols and get this correct. So you don't have to guess which one is the first one or anything, as long as you put them in that order. And we did end up out here where the Riven Remnants are, so that's a good sign. It's a good thing the Starfisher somehow controls your ability to get here without, you know, achieving terminal velocity, or not terminal velocity, what's the term? Without accelerating your, you know what I'm talking about. Without your fall speed getting faster is what I'm trying to say. It's always good news. Alright, is Zandy back? I'd be curious to see if he has anything to say. He's not. The radio's off. Aww. Alright, well, guess he had other things to take care of. Maybe he's having to talk to somebody about the legacy of the DRC or something, so let's go ahead and head down into the cleft over here. Oh, you know, I should have written down the shapes in the journal, or at least the descriptions of them. That would have been perfect. And we'll jump this way since... No! That would have been perfect. Since that's the open door now, but... Alright, let's go this way. Okay, the grindstone is still going here for the windmill. Alright, so we start off with, let's see, that thing, and then we have the eye, then the shell. Oh, that was it. There we go, and then that. Hopefully this is correct.
An ending has been written? You've done all that has been asked. You've traveled the full circle. You have returned to the cleft through the fissure. You swam among the stars and saw the remnants of previous journeys. You have returned, and the pillars were returned. And now one more of the Barrow, the least, has been returned to Denis. You don't need to understand what that means. Only that the hand of the Maker has set it in motion. Now the circle is complete and the tree has begun to grow again. The path is now open, and so the symbol of the journey must change. Now the beginning is tied to the end. Now you can go where you wish. The restoration of Denis awaits. The deep city breathes. Uru again. And I will be concerned with other things. The least are becoming greater. They will now also affect the restoration. Perhaps not the way others had planned. You've learned about the pride of Denis. The great writers of worlds were infected with pride that became a cancer. It grew quietly beneath the surface, but it grew until Denis could live no more. But those things have been told. You understand it well, I think. Let us end this cycle with rewards before we start the next cycle. Relto, the High Place. Your age now. It was the first age I wrote, a gift for my parents, and now much more. It reminds me of another home, another place. I even placed the library in the place it belongs. But Relto will change. It will be your soul, showing what you are. Only I could write Relto. It's beyond what the Denis could accomplish. Keep it. And I've given you clothing that represents your journey. Wear this to show others what side you've taken, when sides are taken. When you wear it, you will tell all that you side with us. With Yeesha, with the Barrow. It will not always be easy. And another gift is here, a link to the cleft here in Tomana. You haven't been able to return here, but now you can. This book will take a special place on your shelf. This place is not meant to be shared. Return here alone when you wish to remember the cycle of things.
So somehow we can use this holographic linking book here, so let's go ahead and do it.
Returning. One final gift. Something that no Denis writer has been able to do for more than 10,000 years. I alone can write this gift. I alone am chosen to do this and more. This gift is what my father Atreus would have longed to give his grandmother Tiana. What Tiana longed for and danced for. The gift of life in the desert. Perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
Alright, so looks like Yeesha was able to make it rain here in the desert. Let's see if this works now. Still the one loose end here that we still have yet to tie up. It does, and we got a holographic Relto page, which seems to add rain to Relto. Let's go ahead and get that one. Alright, and let's go ahead and open this up. I don't know why she closed the door on us. That was kind of rude. But yeah, we have a live Yeesha here with us here in the cleft, and it's raining. That's pretty cool. I'll talk a little bit more about what she said here in a second, but let's get up to the top and see if we can see what's going on. The Barrow! They are going into the volcano there. Cool. Perhaps the ending has not yet been written. This is a message that you get whenever you complete the three segments of the game, but each one has its own symbol representing that portion of the game. So in this case, it's the base game content, which is Yeesha's journey symbol there, which apparently has now changed to something that looks more like a shell. We'll be getting more into that here later on. But there's a few things that Yeesha mentioned. One of them is that we can now confirm that Relto is indeed meant to be modeled after Myst. She mentioned that it was supposed to resemble another home, and that the library was even in the place where it used to be. So we can pick up Zandy's shirt here from earlier, which is pretty cool. The other thing is that she also talked about giving us clothing that displays the fact that we side with Yeesha and the Barrow. And we can actually go back to Relto now. And the significance of this is more, it pertains a little bit more to the online game. We can now see that it's raining here as well. Although I think I'm going to turn that off. I don't want it to be super gloomy here in Relto, so I think this is the one page I will keep deactivated. There we go. It will take effect once we get back into the area. It won't happen instantaneously, because that would be kind of weird for some of the other things. But let's go into the closet over here. You can also see the fissure is now gone. And I'll show you as we change back into our clothes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wear the Yeesha outfit. It's this one right here. And it is the journey symbol. And you can change the accent colors here of it. So I think I'm going to go with red. So that seems to be our accent color. And let's go with black there. I think that looks pretty good. We'll stick with that for now. It kind of has a really earthy look to it. I think it's really appropriate for the Barrow. Alright, so the range should actually be off in Relto at this point. And the final thing is that we now have a link to the Cleft. And she specifically mentioned that this link should not be shared with others. And we actually can go to both versions of the Cleft right here. And the reason for this is because in most of these ages, you can actually share your instance of the age with other players when you go online, but not so with the Cleft. That's just a private place for you to go to. You'll also notice that there are these, I don't think I drew attention to these before, these little markers here with the dunny number 0 on them. These erase your progress in each of these ages, so we're not going to touch those. I don't want to have all my stuff erased, but you can't do that with the Cleft either. So, if I'm not mistaken, that should be all for the first part of the game. We still have a lot more to go, though, because we have completed Yeesha's journey. We still have yet to uncover the history or the eventual end game for the DRC, as well as what's going to be in store for Yeesha next. And the first part of that, the DRC part, is what we're going to be tackling next. And we're going to be starting by reading that book that's laying down there, the one we accidentally picked up earlier. But we're going to do that next time. So until then, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves today. I know I did. And next time, we've got some new exciting stuff to look forward to, so I hope you guys are excited. But until then, thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed yourselves today, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe already, and ring that bell so you can get notified of the next episode. And by the way, I've heard, I'm not a big fan of this, but I've heard that YouTube is now changing its, I don't know if its algorithm is the right word here, but basically the way it delivers content to you in such a way that you're only guaranteed to receive it if you ring that bell. And if you don't engage with somebody for a while, then you won't be getting any of their videos, even if you're subscribed. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I think they're rolling it out. And I've heard about it from other content creators, so just so you guys know, ringing the bell does guarantee that you will get videos in your sub boxes. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and dip for now. So I will catch you on the flip side. Take care and see you then.